On the 84th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, we're going to be talking about the craziest NBA trade I've ever seen. The Super Bowl is coming up in about a week, and we are going to be ranking the top 5 Super Bowl foods and ending it off with some Hall of Fame. Yay or nay? Make sure you use code HatTrick Sports when checking out at w.gg for 10% off your order. Roll it! Welcome to HatTrick Sports, starring your host, Isaiah Carpenter. Bringing you the biggest sports headlines every week. This is the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Now let's just go straight into the NBA. About 12 hours ago, I received an alert that I was very confused about. It was very dream-like. You know what I'm saying? Like it was late at night. Got the notification that Anthony Davis will go to Dallas and that Luka Doncic, who absolutely carried the Mavericks the last few seasons, is now going to the Lakers with all these other like LeBron James and studs like that. So very, I'm going to talk about it here a little bit. Just a wild last few hours reading on it and stuff like that. All the little facts and stuff and stats that went along with it is absolutely crazy. So, like I said, Anthony Davis is headed to the Mavericks, and Luka Doncic, who is hands down was the Mavericks' best player, is headed to the Lakers. Anthony Davis, don't get me wrong, really good player, but is out of his prime. He's getting old. He's 31 years old, and Luka Doncic isn't even 26 yet. He's 25 years old and carried the Mavericks to the finals last year in the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago. Carried the whole team, and it's just a wild trade. I'm still like in shock about this trade. It was a 3-team trade with the Lakers and Mavs being the main two guys, and then you had the Jazz kind of stick in there a little bit. I was not expecting this to happen at all. I didn't know that this was coming. Usually you hear rumors about it first, and then once it's official, Shams or somebody like that will officially announce it. Nobody, not even LeBron James, even knew that this was happening or this was even in the conversation or anything like that. Luka Doncic did not even request a trade. It just doesn't make sense. Why would the Mavs give up their best guy for another guy, which is good? Anthony Davis is good, don't get me wrong. He's just old and worse than Doncic. Like, it's just a very confusing trade to me. And what's even crazier to me is that the Mavs reached out to the Lakers. It wasn't even like the Lakers were like, yeah, we want Doncic. We'll start off with a small trade and stuff like that. Like, the Mavs wanted to get rid of Doncic. Do you understand? Like, the Mavs, I don't know what Doncic did. He seems like a cool guy. What did he do besides carry your team to the finals last year and the Western Conference Finals a few years ago that, like, would upset you guys so much? Like, could it be from, like, these big contract rumors? Like, I just don't understand. So the full trade details: the Lakers receive Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris. The Mavericks received Anthony Davis, Max Christie, the Lakers 2029 first round pick, and then the Jazz received Jalen Hood, the Clippers 2025 second round pick, and then the Mavs 2025 second round pick as well. So that's like the full trade details between the 3-team trade. Yeah, it's just wild to me that the Mavs would first off accept this but like be the ones that are going after. Like, they didn't want Doncic. They didn't ask for like LeBron or even somebody young. They just asked for Anthony Davis and Max Christie. Like, that's just wild to me. It makes zero sense to me how this went through. I don't know if they thought they were signing someone else. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But the Mavs, the first thing I did was looked up the Lakers and Mavs scheduled, and they play each other just in a few weeks. February 25th, I believe it is in Dallas. I could double check. Lakers, Mav, Feb 25th. 1 second. Yeah, it's in LA, my bad. It's in LA. They play each other in LA just in a few weeks. So this is going to be like brand new, and it just makes no sense to me. And like you could like some people could be like, "Oh, Anthony Davis is still good. He's still in his prime." I am going to compare Anthony Davis to Luka Doncic last season, because obviously Doncic hasn't played a whole lot this season so far, We're going to compare players from the same seasons. 2020, it's going to be the 2023-2024 season. Here we go. 23-24. We got Anthony Davis. And we're going to have Luka Doncic. All right. And let's get results. So last season, which is a totally valid season for both of them. Obviously, Luka has only played like 30 games this season. But last season, Anthony Davis still had 6 more games played than Doncic, but whatever. Points a game, Doncic absolutely destroyed Anthony Davis. 33.9 points per game for Luka Doncic, with only 24.7 for Anthony Davis. Assists per game, Luka Doncic had 9.8 assists per game, while Anthony Davis only had 3.5 steals per game. Luka Doncic had 1.4 steals per game. Anthony Davis had 1.2, so within around the same area of that. Blocks per game, Anthony Davis did have more blocks per game. Field goal percentage, Anthony Davis did have more field goal percentage. 3-point percentage, Luka Doncic had a .382 3-point percentage, while Anthony Davis only had a .271. Free throw percentage was close, but Davis does get him on that. And then the big stat, VORP, which for you baseball guys, we do a lot of baseball in here. That's basically like the WAR stat in baseball. So VORP, Luka Doncic had 8.0, and Anthony Davis only had a 4.9 VORP. So keep all that in mind, and yet the Mavs wanted this trade. I have no idea where this came from. I've seen everywhere, like, compare it to MLB, compare it to NFL stats and stuff like that. To compare this to MLB, the best one that I could find is like not a Clayton Kershaw, but like somebody that's older. So like Freddie Freeman. Like I think the best one I found was like Freddie Freeman for Bobby Wood Jr. Bobby Wood Jr. has a super high potential and is gonna go to a team full of studs, like the Lakers, full of studs. And then Freddie Freeman, who's good, older but good, is going to go head to the Royals, which have gone up in the last few seasons, but not the best. Like aren't World Series contenders. So that's the best comparison I could find. I've been thinking about this for the last 12 hours, and I still cannot comprehend the idea that the Mavs wanted this. The Mavs are the one who, like, approached the Lakers in this trade. It's just crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me. And that nobody even knew about it. Nobody even knew that it was a possibility. Just crazy. So, yeah. Luka, like I said, Luka was the best guy. Luka carried them to their finals last season and to the Western Conference Finals a few seasons ago. Let's go to Bleacher Report betting. So Bleacher Report betting, the Mavericks odds from before the Luka trade to the Mavericks title odds before the Luka trade was plus 1,800. After the Luka trade was plus 4,000. Oh, like, what is this trade? I still don't comprehend this trade. I just don't. I haven't had a whole lot of time to process it. I just do not get it. And then the Lakers title odds before the Luka trade was plus 4,000, and after the Luka trade was plus 2,100. So the Mavs basically gave the Lakers better odds at winning the titles and them worse odds, when if you go to their standings, the Lakers and the Mavs, they're only like 2 or so games apart from each other. Like, what? Like, I don't understand this. If Mark Cuban was still, like, the majority owner of the Mavs, I don't think that this trade would have ever gotten through. Luka must have done something so bad that hasn't come out to the public yet, and had, like made the front office so mad in Dallas that they basically gave them away. Gave one of their biggest competitors their best guy. Like, there's something. There's got to be something that the public does not know about that the Mavs know. There's got to be something, because there's just no shot that Dallas is just willing to give the Lakers, like, their best guy. It's just crazy to me. So there's something that we don't know. There's got to be. You cannot convince me that there's something that we don't know that would allow this sanity to happen. Just wild. So that's just all my thoughts on it. It's just crazy to me. It's just, I just can't comprehend it. I literally cannot comprehend it. So are the Lakers gonna win the finals now? Is that what they're doing? Is that what's gonna happen? The Lakers are gonna win the finals. The Jazz are, again, they're kind of in that trade a little bit, but they're not it's just wild to me. Everybody thought that Shams Twitter got hacked because nobody can believe it. Why would I cannot believe this. I cannot believe that this is happening in the NBA right now. Just wild to me. Let's move on to the NFL and some NFL news. The Pro Bowl is taking place not as we speak. We still got a couple hours before the flag football game. But over the last few days, the Pro Bowl has been going on. And there's a lot of haters in the Pro Bowl. And trust me, I wish that the Pro Bowl went back to where it was a tackle football game. You had the first string guys in everywhere. Trust me, I wish that it was like an MLB All-Star game. I wish it was like that. But a couple years ago, they converted into the Pro Bowl games where for pretty much each position has their own mini games, and then whoever wins the most, either the AFC or NFC wins. Eli and Peyton Manning, obviously Colts and Giants. So yeah, here's what my thoughts are on it. These guys have been busting their balls for months. They've been tackled ruthlessly, thrown on the ground, tons of gear, working out, doing all this stuff for the last few months. Why can't they all come together? They all work for the NFL. In the broad scheme of things, they're all co-workers, if you think about it like that. Why can't they just come have a field day? Why can't they all have fun doing stuff that they like without getting hurt, without having to worry about being sore the next day, without worrying about all-season injuries and stuff like that? Why can't these guys just have fun one last time before they go into the offseason with their family, and they won't get to see some of these guys for months? And so that's just my thought. I actually don't mind it. Again, like I said, I wish that they played a game, but I understand where they're coming from. It's just like a big field day for him. It's a big field day for him. It's better than nothing. It's better than 2 weeks straight without you can't go into the AFC and NFC championships and wait 2 weeks for the Super Bowl. It's better than that. I would rather them have these Pro Bowl games, which spans 4 days. There's football pretty much for 4 days straight, than not having sports on, without having football on. Because all there really is now is basketball. And as we've seen, the Mavs really don't care about basketball right now. So yeah, it's supposed to be fun. I think the players have fun with it. And again, like I said, let them have fun one last time before they go into the offseason. They won't get to see these guys for a few months. Super Bowl. Super Bowl is coming up. And people are starting to hate the Chiefs. Why do people hate the Chiefs? The Chiefs are supposed to be good. The last time a three-peat has happened in professional sports is the 1998, 1999, and 2000. Maybe it was the 99, 2000, 2001. The Yankees. The Yankees were basically the last team to pull off a three-peat, and the Chiefs are headed to doing that in just a week away from the time of this recording. Next week, I'll probably say this at the end of the podcast. Next week, I believe I'm going to film probably on the Saturday, just because I'm not filming on Super Bowl Sunday. It's like a holiday, and same with that Monday. Should be a national holiday. But yes, this will probably be the last time I could clip stuff and put it out before the Super Bowl, so I'm going to be talking about the Super Bowl here a little bit. Now, what a lot of people have been asking is, hey, Isaiah, your Seahawks aren't in it. What are your thoughts? Who do you think will win? Who do you want to win? What are some fun stats that you can provide us? And that's what I'm going to do here today. So here are some stats. Here we go, some Super Bowl stats. These are some career Super Bowl players and coach records. So the most games played, Tom Brady with 10. He has played in 10 Super Bowls. That is over 20% of all Super Bowls Tom Brady has played in. The most wins still being Tom Brady with 7. Most games played by head coach Bill Belichick, obviously with Tom Brady. All 9 of them were with Tom Brady. Brady won 1 with the Bucs that 1 year. Most wins by a head coach Bill Belichick was 6. Most losses by a head coach Bud Grant, Marv Levy, Dan Reeves, 4 losses each. Most completions, Tom Brady, 277 completions in his Super Bowl career. Most passing yards, Tom Brady with over 3,000. Most passing touchdowns, Tom Brady with 21. Tom Brady threw 21 touchdowns in his Super Bowl career. Absolutely wild. This guy is the greatest football player of all time. You can't even compare Mahomes to him yet. Most passes intercepted, John Elway with 8. Most touchdowns scored, Jerry Rice with 8. Most rushing touchdowns, Emmitt Smith with 5. Most rushing yards, Franco Harris with 354. Most receptions, Jerry Rice, 33. Most receiving yards, Jerry Rice, 589. Most stats, Charles Haley and Von Miller with 4.5. Let's move on to single game player records. Most touchdowns scored, 3 by Jerry Rice, Roger Craig, Ricky Waters, Terrell Davis, and James White, all with 3 touchdowns scored in just one Super Bowl game. Most completions, 43. Most completions in a Super Bowl is 43 with Patriots and Falcons. I believe that was the 28-3 game, if you know what I mean. Most consecutive completions, 16 by Tom Brady and the Giants in Super Bowl XLVI. It was the Patriots-Giants Super Bowl. Highest completion percentage, 88. The Giants, Phil Simms versus Broncos in Super Bowl 21. You have most passing yards, 505 with Tom Brady versus the Eagles in Super Bowl 52. Most passing touchdowns, 6, 49ers, Steve Young versus Chargers. Most passes intercepted, Raiders, Rich Gannon. Most rushing touchdowns, 3. Most rushing yards, Timmy Smith. Most receptions, 14 in a single game. Most receiving yards, 215 by Jerry Rice. Let's move on to single play records. Longest completion, 85. Panthers, longest completion in the Super Bowl is 85 yards. Now, all of these are in line, especially with Saquon Barkley, and obviously you have the entire Chiefs staff with you. So the longest, all of these could be broken this Super Bowl. Longest rushing play, 75 yards. Longest field goal, 57 yards. That's a pretty long field goal for a Super Bowl. Longest pick six, 100 yards by James Harrison in Super Bowl 18. Is that what that is? Super Bowl 18, I think, maybe. Longest fumble return touchdown, 49 yards. Longest kick return touchdown, 108 yards. Longest punt return, 65 yards. Punt return touchdowns, 0. There has never been a punt return touchdown in Super Bowl history. Will this year be the year that there will be a punt return touchdowns? Maybe. Hey, am I calling it a week before the Super Bowl? I don't know. All right, so those are just some. We got some single game team records. Most points, 55. Fewest points, 3. Largest win by 45. Largest comeback by 25 points. Most points in a half, 35. Most points in a quarter, 35. Most field goals made, 4. Could that also be broken? What's the over-under? We're going to be doing prop bets next week, probably the day of the Super Bowl. Make a little TikTok on that. Most field goals made, 4. Most yards, 613. Patriots versus the Eagles in Super Bowl 52. Fewest yards, only 119. Most rushing yards, 280. Fewest rushing yards, 7. Just 7 rushing yards. Most rushing touchdowns, 4. Most sacks, 7. Most interceptions, 5. Most punts, 11. That is a lot of punts for a Super Bowl. What is that offense doing? Fewest punts, 0. The Patriots and Eagles Super Bowl 52 had 0 punts. I did not know that. Most penalties, 12. Obviously, will the Eagles have over under 12 penalties and make that record? This is just by one team, correct? Single game team records, yes. Cowboys versus Broncos. Fewest penalties, 0. Could the Chiefs do that too? Most penalty yards, 133. Most fumbles, 8. Bills versus Cowboys. Most fumbles lost, 5. Most turnovers, 9. So yeah, there are just some few stats. There are a whole bunch. You can look them up. Those are just a few Super Bowl stats. Now, the moment you have all been waiting for, the question I've been begging to answer. Isaiah, who are you rooting for in the Super Bowl? And this is what I have to say. ladies and gentlemen, sports fans, and fellow football enthusiasts. Today, I stand before you with a decision that did not come lightly. As a man of integrity, loyalty, and unwavering dedication to my teams, I've spent years rooting for greatness, respecting the grind, and appreciating the champions who rise above adversity. And so, after deep reflection, film study, and maybe a little bit of Mahomes magic clouding my judgment, I'm officially announcing that for Super Bowl 59, I will be rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, let's be clear. I have not abandoned my beloved Seahawks, but in the grand tradition of respecting dynasties, appreciating excellence, and quite frankly, just wanting to be on the right side of history, I cannot ignore what this team represents. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. This is a squad that defines greatness, and I refuse to stand on the sidelines pretending otherwise. To the doubters, the haters, and those questioning my decision, I say this. Super Bowls are about witnessing legends in the making, and while my heart beats blue and green for this one night, it will also pulse a little red and golds. So Chiefs Kingdom, for Super Bowl 59, you have my temporary loyalty. Let's run it back. So how about the Chiefs? I will be taking questions after the show. Thank you all for your understanding. Please, you all respect my decision. I will be taking questions after the show. So, as I have just officially announced, I am rooting for the Chiefs for Super Bowl 59 against the Eagles. The Eagles put up a tough run. I'm rooting for Saquon Barkley, but as a team, I got to root for the Chiefs. Appreciate excellence. I'm rooting for history. I'm rooting for the 3-peat. So yes, more NFL news. The NFL is considering implementing electronic system for for first downs. One second, let me move on to this tab over here. Yes, NFL is considering implementing electronic system for measuring first downs during the 2025 seasons. I'm honestly for that. I hope that they do this. There are obviously flaws with every single sport. In baseball, it's the strike zone, and we have seen new technology coming out in the minor leagues, potentially the major leagues in the next few seasons of the automated strike zone. In football, you have ball placement. The refs can basically put the ball wherever they want. It's not a firm set rule or ruling or nothing like that. The refs kind of just set it wherever they want it. And this is for that. The NBA and NHL obviously have fouls. It's just all opinion. It's all judgmental. It's all judgmental calls. So I like that we're moving into this kind of like, we're kind of, it's kind of like a revolution, if you would say. We're revolutionizing the NFL, and I hope that this is a thing. There should be no judgmental stuff in sports. Now, you could say in baseball, yeah, refs kind of make the game. Baseball is not baseball without a strike zone that isn't set perfect every day. And to that, I say that I want to watch a fair game. I want to watch a fair match. I want to watch guys win fairly. And this is how we're going to start doing this. So I'm all for this. I'm all for the NFL using an electronic system to measure first downs during the 2025 season. And I hope they follow through with it. If not, it's not the end of the world, but we would see a lot less dramatic calls. We would know right off the bat, hey, the ball was here. We know it was here. You see the same thing in tennis. If it hits the line, hey, you know it hits the line. You go into replay, the same thing can happen here. All right. Let's move on to the top 5 Super Bowl foods. So, yes, Super Bowl is coming up. Making some clips here. I know it's a week away, but by the time these come out, it'll be closer and closer and closer to the Super Bowl. At number 5, you have jalapeno poppers. Absolutely disgusting. I don't know who even invented jalapeno poppers. It's just disgusting. It's at number 5. It's at last place. I was trying to think of Super Bowl foods, and this is what I came up with, and it got last place, because guess what? It's the worst Super Bowl food of potentially all time. At number 4, you have sliders. You have sliders. Hey, if I want a cheeseburger, guess what? I want the full cheeseburger. There's nothing wrong with the sliders except for the size. And you got to eat 2 of them. Like, who thought of... Why not just have 1 cheeseburger instead of 2 sliders? So, again, no hate for the slider. The slider is a really good character, a really good player. It's just a hate the game, not the player type of mentality that you have to go with the sliders. So that's why it's at number 4. At number 3, making podium, you have nachos. Now, when you think of Super Bowl foods, Super Bowl commercials, you think of nachos. You think of nachos. It's full of all sorts of different cheeses and jalapenos and stuff like that. And so that's why it's at number 3. It's not the greatest Super Bowl food, if we're being honest. Everybody's kind of got to share, and it's a shareable food, which I'm not a huge fan of. But to each their own. When you think of the Super Bowl, you think of nachos. So that is why it's at number 3. At number 2, I was thinking about putting this at number 1, but number 1 deserves to be number 1. And number 2, you have pizza. You cannot go to a Super Bowl party without pizza. Let's be honest. When was the last time you went to a Super Bowl party and there was no pizza? But that's more of like a meal kind of say. You don't just have like 4 slices of pizza as an appetizer. And when you think of Super Bowl foods, you think of appetizers. So at number 1, the greatest Super Bowl food of all time is the wing. The greatest Super Bowl food of all time. If you just give me wings, there's all sorts of flavors. You got barbecue, you got teriyaki, you got garlic parm, you got barbecue, you got all sorts of stuff. You got all sorts of different wing flavors, and the variety is what makes it at number 1. And when you think of Super Bowl foods, there's always the chicken wing just right there in your left corner. Some may say it was a sleeper. Others may say it was well-deserved. So that is my top 5 Super Bowl foods. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. All right, let's move on to MLB news. Only one really big free agent signed this week. Max Scherzer is headed to Toronto to the Blue Jays for a 1-year, $15.5 million deal. He's an immaculate grid guy. Let's look up Max Scherzer stats. Max Scherzer stats. Max Scherzer. All right, let's look at his career stats. He's played for the Diamondbacks, the Tigers, the Nationals, the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Rangers. He's an immaculate grid guy. He's played for nearly a third. I guess it's more like a quarter. He's played for nearly a quarter of all MLB teams, and he just added another one, which is the Blue Jays, headed to Canada. Let's look over his career highlights. Like, obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, first ballot Hall of Famer. Is he worth, how old is he? At 40 years old, 40 and a half years old, is he worth $15.5 million? And I say yes. He has not led the league in something since 2021, when he led the league in just some random stats. The hits per 9 innings, stuff like that. Walks per 9 innings, just stuff like that. He's led the league in 2021. But if we look closer, wins above replacement. Wins above replacement. You have 3.2, 2.1, 1.1, 0.4. Is he worth $15.5 million? I don't know. I just don't know if it's worth that. I think that it's a good pickup for the Blue Jays. I think that there's nothing wrong with it. And obviously, multiple. He's like a 3-time Cy Young winner, 2-time World Series winner, 8-time All-Star. Could potentially be 9 if he makes one with the Blue Jays. So, yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I don't think he's worth $15.5 million for a year. I think it's closer to 8 to 12 mil. I think that's fair. But yeah, that's just some stats. I found this wild, more MLB news. I found this wild, sports statistic. So the comparison, the wildest sports comparison I've ever seen, and it makes 0 sense to me if it's not on paper. So the Yankees and the Steelers, you don't think of as 2 teams that are interchangeable, like, within leagues. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could go with the Dodgers and Chiefs. Yeah, obviously, they're both super dominant. They win every season and stuff like that. But the Yankees and Steelers, the Steelers, you think of the most average team that you could possibly think of. The Yankees are up there pretty much every year, consistently every year. But here are some comparisons of the Yankees and Steelers. Both won a championship in 2009, but since then, they have had 0 losing seasons. Every single season has been either tied for average, I don't know, middle, or a winning season. They have each had 5 division titles, 0 championships, 1 loss in the championship, 10-plus playoff berths, and top 5 regular season record. And they have all been below 500 in the playoffs. Below 500 winning percentage in the playoffs. So that is absolutely wild that they shared this many stats together. Now, I know they're like, obvious, like, one loss in the championship, a top 5 regular season record. Like, you could be like, yeah, that's one of those like super specific stats. But still, if you really think about it, these teams are kind of like each other in the broad spectrum. Now, obviously not in each season, they're not like each other, but in the last 15 seasons, yes, they have been like each other. I just thought that was a cool stat to give. So yeah, let's move on to our sponsor segment. W Energy keeps you energized. Super Bowl's coming up, a lot of sports happening, a lot of stuff happening with HatTrick Sports. I gotta stay energized somehow, but can't get jittery and can't crash, obviously, after. And guess what? W does not do any of that. W will keep you energized. No jitters, no nothing like that. It's better for you than ordinary, like, Red Bulls and Monster Energy drinks and stuff like that. It's just great. You can get them on the go. You could get these. All you got to do is go to w.gg, select whatever you want, and you could get 10% off. Easy. All you got to do is type in just a few letters, HatTrick Sports. And if you type in HatTrick Sports, you will get 10% off your entire purchase, off of every single purchase that you will ever make if you just put in HatTrick Sports. 10% off is quite a bit off when you're buying stuff like this. So make sure you use code HatTrick Sports when checking out at w.gg. Link is in our bio. All right, let's move on to my favorite segment, Hall of Fame, yay or nay. Sorry, that was incredibly loud, but Hall of Fame, yay or nay. We are doing Luka Doncic if he retired right now. If he retired right now, would he belong in the HatTrick Sports Hall of Fame? I've been working. So in shop@HatTrickSports.com, I've been creating this website, and there are tabs. Like, there are all sorts of different tabs. And for the last week, I've been working on the Hall of Fame tab. So will I add this one to that tab? We shall find out right now. Luka Doncic, 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year, 2018-2019 All-Rookie. He's only played for the Mavs until in the next few days he will be playing with the Lakers. Let's see. His career stats, 422 games, 28.6 points per game, 8.7 rebounds a game, 8.3 assists per game, 47.0 field goal percentage, 34.8 3-point field goal percentage, free throw percentage at 74.8. Let's go on to here. He's only been playing since 2018. He won Rookie of the Year. He was 4th in MVP voting. Last year, he was actually 3rd in MVP voting. He has not ever led the league in anything. So if he retired right now after 7 years in the league, I do not think he would be in the Hall of Fame. It would be a nay. Nay for Luka Doncic if he retired right now and ended up not playing for the Lakers. All right, thank you guys for watching the 84th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Website's coming back up hopefully in a couple weeks or so. And we will see you guys next week for episode 85.